Hello all, welcome you to the third video in on the concepts of pointers. I hope you understood the basics of pointers which we have discussed in the earlier two videos. In this session, we are going to discuss the pointer variable in terms of arrays. So in program, we have created a array variable called as a, which has been initialized with the size of 2. Both the memory locations are initialized with the value of 1 and 2 respectively. Then what happens is when we create array whose size is 2, how we can access the array element is a of 0 and a of 1, which is the index 0 and 1, and the value we have stored in the program is 1 and 2. But this is again a variable, and every variable in C will have three things, which is label, value and address. Now we for sure we know that what is the label of a. Label is a, and if I print this label, we know that when we print the label, it always print the value of a variable. So what we are doing in the program is we are printing the a, that is the label of a variable, then it must print what is the value. Also there is address to every variable, and we are doing the same thing in the program. We are also trying to print ampersand of a. So what we are expecting is we are expecting the value of a, and we are also expecting the address of a. Take a moment and think what it will print. Many of you may have thought that a is going to print 1 and ampersand of a will print the address, but that's wrong. Let's verify. Compiled, program is compiled. Better let me print both the outputs on two separate lines. So you can see this, some number has come. So this number is actually the address of a. So 6356728, and both the values are same. So this a and address of a is giving the same thing. So what is this label, and how come when we say a of 0 accesses the first value? So what is this a is actually? So a is a pointer variable. A is a pointer variable. So every array variable in C is a pointer variable. Now if this holds true, that every array variable is a pointer variable in C, it means that how we can access the element pointed by the address, let's say %d and p star p. In the previous lecture, I'm sure you are able to recall that star p means address the value pointed by the address, and if I print p, this means access the address which is stored in the pointer. Now if a is a pointer, this has to print the address, and it does print the address. We have seen this. Let's compile one more time and see. So okay, you can see that it does print the address of the variable. Now if I print star a, it has to dereference the a and it has to print the value. Now let's compile this and run. Can you see it is printing the first value from the array 1? If let's verify whether it is truly print the first value or not. So I am changing it from 1 to 11 and 12. So now it has to print 11 on the screen. So you can see that it does print 11. So it does mean that the array variables are pointer variables. Now what is the meaning of this a of 0? How we can access the element? The traditional way of accessing the array variables is a of 0. This is how we access the element. Now I haven't compile and run. So 11 two times. I have to just give a next line character here also and compile and run. So you can see this 11 and 11. So both, like a star a is also printing 11 and a of 0 is also printing 11. So what exactly this a of 0 and a of 1? So a holds an address, some address, and when we say a of 0, what is this a of 0 in this index? It has a formula. The formula is base address plus the size of data type into the index. Now we will discuss this formula in detail. So what is this formula? The data type of the array, right now the data type of this array is integer. So in memory, let's assume that there are two blocks required to access one variable, the block 1 and block 2, or 2 bytes are required, byte 1 and byte 2, to store one number. So let me merge this. So we have merged these two cells, and these 2 bytes are required to store the one value. So right now we have stored 11 and 12 in the array. So these 2 bytes will be used to store 11. Now each of this byte is going to have address. Let's say first byte have address 0x1 and the second byte have address 0x2, and the third byte is going to start at 0x3, and this byte 3 and byte 4 will be utilized to store the next value in the array. Let's again merge this. The next value which is we want to store is 12. Now clearly you can see this like 0x4. So 0x1 and 0x2 are utilized to store 11. 0x3 and 0x4 are utilized to store 12 in the array. Now when we say a of 0, it means that, when we say a of 0, it means that the base address of what? Base address means address of a, which is 6666. Base address plus the size of the data type. What is the size of data type? Here we are assuming the size of the data type is 2 bytes. Integer has 2 bytes. The size of data type into index. So to access the first element, the index we use is 0. So 2 bytes into let's write the entire formula. So the base address 66 plus the base address, let's assume it is 66, plus the size, but this is in the bracket, the size of data type is 2 bytes, into index, which is 0. Now we know that anything into 0 is 0, so 66 will be the output. Now what it tells to the array is, you have to read the first element, you have to start reading from the first location of the array, which is B1. And when it starts, how much data every data type reads, that it depends on the size of the data type. So here it is going to read 2 bytes and the output will be 11. Now if we want to access the second element, the formula changes. What it says is the base address int plus the size of the data type, which is 2 bytes, into, now instead of index 0, when we want to access the second element, index becomes 1. Now any 2 into 1 becomes, the result becomes 2. So what happens is the 66, which was the base address, plus 2. So if I am starting, this is represented as 66 plus 2 means 1 and 2. So here array will start accessing the memory from 0x3. So this is how it works. That's why our indexes start with 0 and array element, first array element is always at index 0. That means the base address plus size of the data type into index, and the 0 means 0 into data type is 0. That means you have to start the, if you want to read the first element, that means you have to start at the base address itself. You want to go to the second index, so index into the size of the data type, those many bytes will be skipped and you will be transferred to the second index. If this holds true, what we can prove is, let's say printf %d, and we have access to the base address. Now I'll say I am going to print a of 1, which is the second index value. How we will do is, let's say /n. Now we know that a means the address. There is no rocket science in printing a of 1. It's going to print the second element from the array. But what if I print asterisk symbol? Now we know that this is going to print the first value from the array. Now what if we do it like this? What if we print like star asterisk symbol out of the bracket inside the bracket a plus 1? Before checking out the output, let's complete everything. So star a is equal to a of 0 equal to, and here it is a of 1 equal to, but in reality how we are printing, I'll just write that also, star, or let's write it like this, star a plus 1 bracket completes, and on the next line we will print using the normal way, like a of 1 is equal to %d, %d a of 1. Let's try to compile. So it compiled. Let's run. You can see this, star a plus 1 is equal to 12, as well as a of 1 is equal to 12. So this is the beauty of the pointer. It clearly says that you people have used pointer variables many a times. Like you must have used arrays so many times in the program, and when it comes to the pointer you may have felt a bit afraid of it. But once you understand that a pointer means it will or everything in the C will always have three aspects. Every variable in C will have a three aspect, which is label, value and address, and then you have to decide what you want to access. If you just understand this only concept, this concept only, like whether you are interested in a label, whether you are interested in a value, or whether you are interested in an address, the life is simple. Hopefully you understood the concept of array, which is a pointer variable, and it does mean that you have used pointers earlier also, right? So in the next video we will explore some of the memory management concepts with the help of pointers. See you.